What's going on, guys? So another choppy day in the market. We had a nice relief rally today after yesterday's huge sell-off and overreaction to variant news and obviously the tapering talks, all the Fed speaking going on this week. Just a very volatile week. So hopefully everyone is doing okay out there. Now, it's cool to buy the dip, just scale in and average down, and definitely keep cash because we don't know if this is the start of a bigger dip or is this just it and we're going to bounce from here and rally into the end of the year. So it's fine to just buy your high conviction plays, but I would just consider buying in waves. Also, check out this video by Meet Kevin. He talks about more to come in the market. So just be aware of these upcoming dates that he discusses. But we're going to get into some dip buys I got into and some SoFi news. So if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe, and let's go. All right, now getting into SoFi. So sitting at 1638, had the low of the day around 16. I did buy a bit more of SoFi. Obviously, I want this thing at 1550 or less. That would be a great time to buy. But I think this is a great time to scale in and average down for people who missed SoFi the first time and felt like they were chasing around this area. So, but not much to report on SoFi at the moment, but we do have some things to talk about. Anthony Noto presented at the 5th Annual Virtual Wells Fargo Summit Conference. They've been doing a lot of these, so not that big of a deal. We have this article, despite headwinds, SoFi did have impressive earnings. Obviously, nothing's changed. They're doing great. Then we have Anthony Noto buying more SoFi, which is always bullish to see, especially during these tough times and sell-offs. Just gives you that extra conviction. If the CEO is buying, this company is obviously undervalued and they believe in it. So everything is looking solid for SoFi, and we do have dark pools buying SoFi, and now we're going to get into the chart. Obviously, we're all waiting for that bank charter announcement, and we do have the warrants coming up on the 6th of December, so maybe we'll hear more about the bank charter after that. All right, so here's the daily chart, and painted a nice picture of where I consider buying and loading up on SoFi and where I consider to trim and sell. So I did recently take profits on the options. I did have to sell a few for a loss, but I took most of my options profits in this area, trimmed some shares as well. But basically, SoFi did triple top. So this was the first peak, second peak, third peak. This is how it's traded and held this very nicely today, that 16 zone. Basically, I did add a little bit today, but basically you want to add SoFi 16 or less in this range right here. Shouldn't go below 14 unless the overall market is just dying. And that could very well happen with what's going on in the markets. Now, so this is your add zone, and then take profits up here. This is where I would sell, all the calls you picked up, or most of them at least, unless they're leaps, and trim some shares. And that's just your supply and demand zones. And then the one-day orders, pretty bearish at the moment. Saw a lot of calls being sold and some puts being bought, but that's just one-day orders, nothing too crazy. But that's what I have for SoFi at the moment. Basically, I do think it's going to hold this range. Could dip a little bit into the 15s, but I don't see this going to all-time lows again. And if it does come down here, that is, I definitely learned from last time I should have went all in at those levels because this is a great company long-term. Next up is SQ. I love this company and never thought that it would be below 200 again. This is one that has peaked out at like 280, come back down to 200. Multiple times it's been 200, 250, back to 215, then, just back and forth. So definitely a choppy stock, but a great one overall. Now, we hit new 52-week lows. I do expect a bounce here. This is, the buy zone again, and going to swing it all the way back to all-time highs. I definitely think it's going to get there. Overall bearish on the day, but if we do go to the weekly, this is typically where you will see SQ bounce. It's, historically bounced from these lows. Obviously set a new 52-week low today with the overreaction to the news in the market, but I do expect a bounce here. Anything in the 185 to 200 range is great buy for long term, and I fully expect this to be back in the 200s, 220 plus in a couple of months easily. And second to last, Lemonade. This one is a higher risk play. Not a profitable company, but I do believe in the growth of this company, and I think it's oversold. New 52-week lows. This one has been, in the hundreds before, and I do think that we will definitely see $70 to $90 again in the future, especially once we rotate back into these growth small mid caps. So I did pick some shares up and I started scaling in the low 50s, considering adding more. Didn't add any today, but I'm just waiting to see, will it hold this or keep breaking down? But I do think this one will pay. I know it is risky and we'll see how it goes. If it continues to break down, then I'll consider, cutting losses before it gets too bad. But I do think this one will bounce back. And last but not least, we have Palantir starting to scale into this one. Just, a starter position for me. I'm going to start building this one out if it can come down a little bit more. I do expect a bounce similar to May lows. If it does come down to the 17 range, that's where I will really start to load up. I believe in this company long term. I think it's very solid. Now, these yellow bars here is what I expect to happen. So if we do sell off more, I expect it to bounce here and then recover just like last time. This is literally copying these bar patterns. But today, if we move that out of the way, it did hold pretty nicely, right at 19, got a little bit of a relief bounce, sitting at 1970 now. But yeah, I like Palantir. Basically would swing this back to around 25. It pretty much trades in this range. It's traded in this range most of the year. And I'll swing back to around 25, trim some there, and then let the rest ride for a bit. I'll probably keep some in my retirement long term as well. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.